The desert sands shimmered under the scorching sun, stretching endlessly in every direction. The heat was relentless, and the air seemed to ripple with the intensity of the sun's rays. Moses, a humble shepherd tending his flock, noticed a strange sight in the distance. Amidst the barren landscape, something unusual caught his eye, something that defied the natural order of the desert. A bush was engulfed in flames, yet it did not burn away. The flames danced and flickered, but the bush remained unscathed. Curiosity and a sense of wonder drew him closer, compelling him to investigate this miraculous phenomenon. As he approached, a voice boomed from the heart of the fire. "Moses! Moses!" The voice was powerful and commanding, resonating with an authority that was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Startled, Moses replied, "Here I am." His heart pounded in his chest as he stood before the burning bush, unsure of what to expect next. The voice continued, "Do not come any closer. Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground." Moses obeyed, removing his sandals and feeling the sacredness of the moment wash over him. It was the voice of God, speaking directly to Moses. The divine presence was overwhelming, filling Moses with a profound sense of reverence and humility. God had a mission for him, a dangerous and daunting task, to return to Egypt, the land of his birth, and free the Israelites from slavery. The weight of this divine command was immense, and Moses felt the gravity of the responsibility placed upon him. Moses, filled with both fear and determination, accepted his divine calling. He knew the path ahead would be fraught with challenges, but his faith in God's plan gave him the strength to move forward. He was about to embark on a journey that would change the course of history, a journey of liberation and faith. With each step, he carried the hopes and dreams of an entire nation, trusting in the divine guidance that had called him forth. This was the beginning of the Exodus, a monumental event that would forever be etched in the annals of history. The story of Moses and the liberation of the Israelites would become a timeless testament to the power of faith and the enduring spirit of freedom. Centuries earlier, the Israelites, descendants of Jacob, had settled in Egypt. Initially welcomed, they found themselves increasingly oppressed as a new Pharaoh rose to power. The Pharaoh, fearing the Israelites' growing numbers, enslaved them. The Israelites endured backbreaking labor, forced to build cities and monuments under the relentless Egyptian sun. Their lives were filled with hardship and despair. They cried out for deliverance, their pleas echoing through the generations. Unbeknownst to them, a deliverer was being prepared, a man who would rise from among them to lead them to freedom. His name was Moses. Armed with God's authority and accompanied by his brother Aaron, Moses returned to Egypt. He stood before the Pharaoh demanding the release of his people. "Thus says the Lord, the God of Israel. Let my people go that they may hold a feast to me in the wilderness," Moses declared. Pharaoh, arrogant and dismissive, scoffed at Moses' words. "Who is the Lord, that I should obey his voice and let Israel go? I do not know the Lord, and moreover I will not let Israel go." And so began a battle of wills, a clash between the power of the Egyptian empire and the might of the one true God. Pharaoh's defiance would have dire consequences, for God was about to unleash his wrath upon Egypt. With each refusal of Pharaoh, God struck Egypt with a devastating plague. The Nile River, the lifeblood of Egypt, turned to blood. Hordes of frogs swarmed the land. Gnats and flies tormented the people. Livestock died, boils erupted on the Egyptians, and a fearsome hailstorm ravaged the land. Still, Pharaoh remained unmoved. Finally, the 10th and most terrifying plague arrived, the death of the firstborn. Throughout Egypt, a cry of anguish arose as every firstborn son, from the highest official to the humblest household, perished. Pharaoh, overwhelmed by grief and fear, finally relented. The Israelites were free to go. A miraculous escape parting the Red Sea. This event stands as one of the most dramatic and awe-inspiring moments in biblical history. The Israelites, carrying their meager possessions, fled Egypt with Pharaoh's soldiers in hot pursuit. They had endured years of slavery and oppression, and now freedom was within their grasp. They reached the edge of the Red Sea, with the Egyptian army closing in. The vast expanse of water seemed an insurmountable barrier, trapping them between the sea and their pursuers. Fear gripped the hearts of the Israelites. They could see the dust clouds of the approaching chariots, hear the distant rumble of hooves, and feel the weight of impending doom. Had their newfound freedom been short-lived? Doubts and questions filled their minds. Was this the end of their journey, right at the brink of liberation? Moses, raising his staff, stretched out his hand over the sea. His faith and leadership were about to be tested in the most extraordinary way. A powerful east wind blew throughout the night, parting the waters and creating a dry path through the sea. The wind howled, and the waters obeyed, forming towering walls on either side. The Israelites walked through the parted waters, the walls of water towering on either side. It was a path of deliverance, a corridor of hope amidst the chaos. As dawn approached, the Egyptian army followed into the dry seabed. Their chariots thundered forward, determined to recapture their fleeing slaves, but the waters closed in on them, swallowing them up. The sea returned to its place, engulfing the chariots and soldiers. The Israelites were safe, their enemies vanquished. They had witnessed the awesome power of God and the depths of His love for them. Their deliverance was complete. The journey ahead was still long, but this miraculous event fortified their faith and hope. Laws etched in stone, receiving the 10 Commandments. Their journey continued to Mount Sinai, where God called Moses to the summit. There, amidst thunder and lightning, God delivered the 10 Commandments, laws inscribed on stone tablets. These commandments, a covenant between God and His people, provided a moral and ethical framework for their lives. The 10 Commandments emphasized the importance of worshiping God alone, honoring parents, respecting life, and upholding justice. They served as a reminder of God's holiness and His desire for His people to live lives of righteousness and compassion. The giving of the law at Sinai was a pivotal moment in the Israelites' journey. It marked the establishment of a unique relationship between God and His chosen people, a relationship based on covenant and obedience. A covenant forged, the promise and the test. The covenant at Sinai was a two-way agreement. God promised to bless and protect His people, to be their God and guide them to a land of their own. In return, the Israelites were to obey God's laws and live as His chosen people, a light to the nations. However, the wilderness journey proved to be a time of both faith and testing. The Israelites, accustomed to slavery, struggled to embrace their newfound freedom. They grumbled against Moses, doubted God's provision, and even turned to idol worship. Their rebellion grieved God, yet He remained faithful. He disciplined them in love, for He desired their growth and maturity. Through their trials and failures, God continued to mold them into the people He had called them to be. Echoes of Exodus, timeless lessons for today. The story of Exodus is not just a tale from the past, it is a narrative that continues to speak to the human condition, offering wisdom and guidance for our modern lives. The Exodus story, though ancient, continues to resonate with people across cultures and generations. It is a story that transcends time and place, touching the hearts of those who seek freedom and justice. It speaks of the universal longing for freedom, a desire that is as old as humanity itself. The chains that bound the Israelites are symbolic of the many forms of bondage that people experience today. The power of faith in the face of adversity is another timeless lesson from the Exodus story. It teaches us that even in the darkest of times, faith can be a guiding light, providing strength and hope. The importance of living in right relationship with God and others is a central theme. It reminds us that our actions and relationships have profound impacts on our communities and the world. The themes of Exodus, liberation, faith, and covenant are as relevant today as they were thousands of years ago. These themes challenge us to reflect on our own lives and the world around us. We too face challenges that test our faith, moments that push us to our limits and make us question our path. In these times, the story of Exodus offers a beacon of hope. Situations that leave us feeling enslaved, whether by circumstances, societal pressures, or personal struggles, are not uncommon. The story of Exodus speaks to these modern-day forms of bondage. Yet, the Exodus story reminds us that God is present with us in our suffering, walking alongside us in our darkest moments. It reassures us that we are never alone, that He hears our cries, our pleas for help, and our prayers for deliverance. This divine attentiveness is a source of comfort and strength, and that He is able to deliver us just as He delivered the Israelites from their bondage. This promise of deliverance is a cornerstone of faith. As we reflect on the Exodus story, let us be inspired to live lives of courage, compassion, and unwavering faith. Let us draw strength from this ancient narrative to face our own challenges. Let us strive to be instruments of liberation and justice in our own time, working to break the chains of oppression and bring about positive change in our communities. Remembering that God is still in the business of setting captives free, This timeless truth continues to inspire and guide us as we navigate the complexities of our modern world.